real quick update on the current situation of the pickup truck. As you can see, the pickup truck is reassembled, engine is installed, everything is tip top. I put about 8 miles on the truck so far, and today I was able to go get a smog and it passed with flying colors. The guy at the smog shop was kind of impressed that it had 81,000 miles for 2002. He was like, it's like pretty still kind of new. And I told him a story about the truck, how I bought it off of the original owner who bought it in Hawaii when I was in Hawaii. Upon the conclusion of my military service, the government had decided that they can transport the truck from Hawaii to California for free. And that kind of gave me a bit of a warm fuzzy feeling because I really liked the truck and I wanted to keep it. And when I got the truck, it had 50,000 miles. Majority of the mileage was put in California. Now, the engine had failed because it overheated. It overheated because this elbow rusted through. It had a pinhole leak and it just stayed on the freeway doing 80 until it gave no more. Now, what caused that rust was a radiator that just, not much was done to it. As long as gasoline was in the gas tank, it got driven. No questions asked. Maybe they did an oil change, whatever. Now, that elbow had failed once in Hawaii, and it was really easy changing. The only time is I caught it back then. This time, I wasn't very successful, and this happened at night when it overheated. Overheated at night, overheated on the freeway, so finding the steam coming out of the hood, even looking at the needle, wasn't a concern to the person that was driving it. Unfortunately, it was not me that was driving it. Water under the bridge, due to the Corona-19 lockdown, I was able to take the engine out. Now, the first time I started working on it, one of my friends had come by a visit. He had come out of work or whatever. He was dressed up kind of like he just got done working on the car. And he asked me, hey, when are you going to start working on it? Let me see what you need to do to it. And I popped the hood and it was pretty much like you see here, completely assembled. Let me switch hands here. So then me and my buddy, we decided to start taking it apart. That was our pastime. That was what we did for fun. Just took it apart, and maybe in like an hour or two, majority of the connections were disconnected. The radiator was disconnected and drained. All the wiring was disconnected and drained. Most of the stuff on the top end was already unbolted. And it was a good rhythm. Like my friend and I built, we just kind of just started disassembling things piece by piece. Before we knew it, most of the stuff was already done. This fast forward maybe 2 months. 2 months it's been sitting, and I decided I'm gonna continue working on it. Put on my steel toe boots, my work pants, and my work shirt. I got my floor jack out, cardboard out on the floor. And as soon as I started working on it, 2 of my cousins showed up. Now, I had already had an engine hoist and an engine stand already on standby. When my cousins showed up, it just made it a lot more, easier to do. The motivation was already there. And again, my cousins and I, we just took it apart. We had fun. Cool. And that was our thing, We decided to just hang out one Friday evening. And they just randomly stopped by and we decided to take the engine out. The goal was to take the engine completely out of the engine bay. I think I was going to just unbolt stuff and just let it sit for another day. But since we were all working together, we got the engine out, I think, in about 2.5 hours. And our motivation behind working on it fast was as soon as we remove it, we'll clean everything up and we'll sit down and start a little campfire and we'll drink some brewskis. And then I think the last update was the engine out, being disassembled, and me finding out that the cylinder bore had rust past the point of no return. Basically, the cylinder bore where there was rust had already been sitting there long enough to where there was pitting, meaning that the shape of the bore was no longer a perfect circle. It was more like a elliptical shape or whatever, the bottom point being where the rust had already built up. And I knew that I gave up. Complete disassemble down to the bare block. There's nothing I can do except take it to a machine shop. My neighbor had come by, asked me once about my engine. I think we had worked on his truck. He had an issue, and then I guess to kind of thank me for volunteering, he asked about the truck, and I said, hey dude, you have a pickup truck? Can we just drop the block out in a machine shop? and then we'll continue the project. Now the mechanic, or I would say the machinist slash mechanic slash business owner, he was like, "Oh, dude, with the 20 thousandths overbore, it'll be perfect. I'm gonna overbore all the cylinders, change the cam bearings, and hot tank it. Obviously, hot tank it before, hot tank it after, and get rid of all the metal pieces." And I decided, hey, go for it. You know what? I'll bring you all the other parts. And then I said, warning, the cylinder head is cracked. You're gonna need to replace it. And he was very generous. And he said, hey, so what's the plan for that? And I said, hey, what I'm gonna do is I found the head on eBay for $250. Everything, whatever, I'm just gonna buy it. He's like, I could get you that, and don't worry, I'll take care of it. Right around the time I dropped off the truck, or the time I dropped off the engine block, I brought him all the parts so he can look at, and then I said, you know what, you're gonna need to hang the pistons on the rods because the overbore is gonna require new pistons. And then he said, if like in 3 days, engine block is done, parts are done, do you want to pick it up or do you want me to assemble it? And I said, you know what, assemble it. It's a Friday night. I'm going to start my job working on Monday, and I know after working on Monday I'm not going to have the motivation to work on it myself. After he assembled the engine, he said, the engine's ready for pickup, do you want to pick it up? I said, how much more is it for you to just install it, man? Like, I don't have the motivation anymore, and plus I'm working full time now. The Corona-19 vacation is done. What do I got to do besides take you the truck? He's like, oh, just bring me a truck, I'll have a tow truck come pick you up. Took him the truck, handed him the keys. No kidding, 4 days later, the engine was installed in the truck. It was running. First he gave me the quote for the engine block machining. Then he gave me the quote for assembly. Then he gave me the quote for installation. Then he quoted me for everything else that he required. And I mean everything. I know that the truck has not been touched in a very long time, neglected. So I said, go ahead and change the distributor cap, distributor rotor, the spark plug wires, spark plugs, obviously all needs new coolant, oil filter, all the heater hoses, not the actual radiator hoses, the heater hoses. He had looked at the condition of the existing ones and he decided to keep using what was good. And via his discretion, I trusted his decisions. He did recommend that I change the starter, and I said, you know what, yeah, that's the factory installed starter, let's go ahead and change that. What also that I changed was the engine mounts. Engine mounts are busted, so he got new mounts. And it's like a brand new truck. One of the issues that I had was with the old radiator, had a crack, like a hairline crack on the surface. And it sucks because the original radiator, I had it rebuilt at a radiator shop. Apparently they tested it, but since the truck sat so long, the radiator I had done maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I knew that I wasn't going to get that money back. So I said, just get a new radiator. Let's just put an end to this truck. And the guy was like, don't worry, you could pay me whenever. I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to give you the cash. Like, I don't want to be on the hook. And he was like, you could pay me, whatever you have. I know that you're going to be very generous and trustworthy with like payment plan, but I've been saving for a little bit for the truck project to be done, and then I just gave him the full Monty. Like, everything else was done. Like, he saved me so much time, so much of a headache. The registration expired, so I was able to just jump on it like a day after. Even though I submitted doing like the plan non-op, the DMV still charged me the extra fees. Yeah, so I pretty much admitted to myself, if I get the engine back from this guy, it's not going to be assembled. If I get the assembled engine back, it's just going to sit in a plastic bag for 4 or 5 months. I said, I'll just let him do it. Now I'm at the point in my life where the saving money and the doing it myself, because of the time, like, there's an overlap now. And obviously when I was younger, didn't have the time, I wasn't working that much. I decided people that spend full price on mechanics I just think very negative about them. But the shoe being on the other foot, meaning that like I value my time a lot more, and the amount of money that they're charging, I value that person's time too. And it's just an exchange, a handshake exchange. I'm happy, he's happy, and everyone's happy. like I said, put like 4 miles on the truck. I went to go use it to pick up some stuff from Harbor Freight. And that's that. So the last couple things that I need for the truck is the rest of it. Meaning, the suspension is the most important thing. The shocks in the front, the shocks in the back are bouncy, but they're the Bilstein shocks for the ZQ8. Yeah, the ZQ8. The model that's a little bit lower, street edition, whatever, before the Chevy Extreme. The shocks need to get changed. The rubber bushings need to get changed. The ball joints need to get changed. The steering joint, I guess, tie rods? Yeah, I will call it the tie rods, need to get changed. So stay tuned, I'm going to be doing things like that and then slowly building it back up to a fresh truck. Now, the reason I did this is because, I would like a brand new truck, but I would not like a brand new truck payment. The truck is still under 90,000 miles for 2002. It's crisp. And now it has a engine with 4 miles. And last but not least, the engine has a 1-year warranty. The guy said, drive it, man. Enjoy the truck. You have a 1-year warranty. I stand by my labor. And he's a really good guy. He's got easily over 30 years doing this. And he runs his own machine shop. So he was recommended to me by a close friend of mine. So I said, you know what? 1-year warranty. Wasn't expecting that at all. I was going to just do it myself. And, if it ran, it ran. But knowing that he gives me a warranty kind of gives me a little bit more confidence to drive the truck. And get used to driving it again. Because, I've been driving the tiny Miata. I don't know, it's back there somewhere. And after a while, it's just not comfortable. Driving this is like driving a recliner. And the air conditioner is really good. Way better than my Miata. I could have the air conditioner on in traffic and it still blows ice cold. I have to actually turn it down because it's just, too efficient. But I guess to end on a good note, I want to say thank you guys for watching the videos that I've been posting. A lot of people on the Chevy S10 groups on Facebook who've been motivated on my project and everything else that I've done. You guys have been like a driving force behind it. Like the heater core video. I didn't think it was going to get the exposure that it did, and it became pretty popular and motivated me again to just continue working on this project truck. And then, by the way, I also got a new camera, Sony A6400. Yeah, I had to tilt it up and look at the number. Now it has the autofocus. Oh, and I don't have to worry about having an ugly video because now everything's going to be in focus. There's a little tiny square that tracks my face movement, And 16 millimeter 1.4 Sigma. Is it a 1.4? Yeah. Fucking 1.4 Sigma. Perfect lens. So, the thing about the camera is that it's a bit heavy. So it kind of weighs down on my arms. That's why I'm switching it. But beyond that, the lens, the focal width, the focal length is good. Excuse me. It's got the automatic sound microphone, so it's got the bars so you can tell if you're peaking. I don't think I'm gonna put anything else on this camera other than just use it. Maybe get some batteries and an external charger, because the charger for this camera plugs into the side, and I swear to God, no one tells you about that when they're reviewing the camera. Should have done an unboxing, but nah. Maybe using this camera to do some unboxing of feature things. So leave a comment, give me a subscription, follow, whatever. I don't know. Appreciate and everything. And sorry, I'm not good at monologuing, but thank you guys for watching.